it drill. I'm independent, I don't need no deal. I'm jaws on the beat, I got flow that kills. Do my ting with a few G's, Lauryn Hill.
Okay, so in this video, we're going to look at the Fruity Limiter, which isn't very well named because the Fruity Limiter is also a compressor and a gate and a saturation plugin all built into one. I'm just going to break down where those features live and how we can use each one of them. As with the EQ, this is a resizable plugin and there's this tiny little black icon just in the bottom right hand corner. So we're just going to make that ever so slightly larger to work on. So by default, we're on the limiter section. So if I was to run something into this, we can see we've got some pretty basic controls. We can see what's going on as well. Now we've got the ceiling. If I bring the ceiling down, it brings this green line down. We can see here it's now going to stop these peaks. Equally, if I gain into it, it's going to push further up but still stop on that ceiling. Now there's saturation as well built into the limiter, so we can start saturation by bringing it down. Now the saturation works from 0, but if we've got a ceiling on, it's not actually going to get touched, so we have to bring it past the ceiling to work. We can use that to drive things really hard. So if we just hold Option and we can click all of those just to reset the parameters. We've then got the compressor section. Now that lives just here. We've got limit compression just under the ceiling option. If we tap that, we get some different options. We get, quite frankly, our normal compressor setting. Now, it works quite nicely. We've got a threshold here and it gives us a threshold the second we pull it down from 0. We can see the nice animated blue lines there that show what our ratio is and our knee as well. There's currently nothing, so audio would pass through it cleanly. As we introduce a ratio, we can see it pull down and we can see actually where it starts controlling the sound. As we introduce the knee, we can see it soften off or actually go into expansion if we pull it nice and heavy to the left. This can be fun for bringing your transients back in. If we do a negative ratio and a expansion knee, it's added a green spike on top as where it's adding transients in. And we can see how the GUI changed. Here it's showing how much is being taken out from compression, and here it's showing how much is being added via that extra expansion that's going on. The numbers for which show up in the top left hand corner. So it says minus 2.6 dB and then it says 2.8 dB going upwards. We've got some other settings in here as well. We've got our attack and release and they are linked to some sidechain options. And we've also got a curve as well, and the curve types adjust the attack and release curvature, meaning if I was to put this up to 8, you're going to see a much wider curve happen when we compress the sound. This can be really useful when you're sidechaining a kick and you want that whole kick to be exposed, but you still need there to be quite a quick release time. Having that curve can help sort of shape it so it fits around the sound. If we've got a sidechain input, we simply choose the sidechain input in there. We have one none set up at the moment, so we can see none and we can't scroll through. We could right click and see what the track was named as if there was one going into it. And the last thing that's built into this is actually a noise gate as well. Now as we bring the threshold for that, we can just see this very faint line moving. What we need to do is actually reduce the gain back. Now we can see our gate, and this brown area here will respond as our gate. When the signal drops into this brown section, the gate's going to close dependent on this release time. All three parameters inside this can all be linked together, so we could now have this gate really harshly cutting out all the background sounds. We could then expand it as well, pushing everything upwards, and then put the saturation on the limiter. completely demolishing your sound. And that, guys, is a detailed breakdown of the Fruity limiter, which is also a compressor, saturation plugin, and gate all in one. I hope that video was helpful for you, and I look forward to seeing you guys on the next one.
Drill. I'm independent, I don't need no deal. I'm jaws on the beat, I got a flow that kills. Do my ting with a few G's, Lauryn Hill.